Hello, beautiful beings. Here we are. The Matrix for reals. That is the subject tonight. The Matrix for reals. So if you had any questions from yesterday that didn't get answered, please make sure you post them here. I would be happy to answer them. If you are ready and set to go, then God bless. I am going to beautify my lips. You know, I see, not because they need beautifying, but because my lips are incredibly dry. It was cold today. So I've been wearing lipstick all day. All right. Hi, Stacy, Susan, Barbie, Sonia, Nika, Barb. From everywhere and all over. So glad you guys are here. And hi, Tina. So great to have you here as well. For everyone that is joining us, excited to have you here. I'm like, oh my gosh. What a time to be alive, huh? Just keep watching and watching. But one of the things that I thought of that it always reminds me of the Matrix, and I was just talking to a girlfriend about this, is think of how consciousness works. All that the news does is collect evidence for a point of view and give you the same information over and over and over again. And how you change reality is you don't focus on the same things that are going wrong over and over and over again. You focus on the people that are doing right in the world. It's a physics 101. Can you imagine how powerful it would be if news outlets actually took their focus over to the people that are causing change and locally collected evidence for everything that is changing in the world and everything that people are doing to build bridges to a new reality? Could you imagine the power of that to change the entire world? Like, seriously. Like, I don't even know how to express how ridiculous that would be. So powerful, right? I'd love to hear your point of view on that particular piece of information. What do you think it would be like if we actually, I'm going to look in the chat, if those in the media actually understood physics and started to act accordingly, right? There are occasional reporters that do that, but what a powerful, powerful outlet. It would be so incredibly, insanely powerful if national newscasts did that. Now, one of the things about, this Mighty Networks group that we're in, an Agents of Awakening, and also our playground, is that we have a vehicle in which to, of course, share things that are happening that are evolutions upon what's been happening before, which is incredibly powerful. And that's how we affect the Matrix. So, the Matrix for reals. Okay. You know that we're on day 7. I made a mistake yesterday. It wasn't day 5, it was day 6. We're on day 7. Hi, Manisha. And in day 7, it's entitled The Matrix for Reals. And one of the things that we talk about in chapter, I don't know which, in the book UNSTUCK, I think it might be 7, is we talk about, kind of like manifesting 11.0. I just did an interview about that. By the way, I'm doing some crazy ass amazing interviews coming up for the book. I hope you guys get to watch them all. They're just some amazing beings doing interviews with me. I'm very blessed to be on those podcasts. And in that particular chapter, I get to talk about the biology, the biophysics, the physics, and the mathematics of being able to quantum leap our reality in a way that most don't really embody at very most, or at very least, even mentally understand how much we can change this silly reality that we're in very, very quickly. And we're a small but, committed and passionate group here. Small compared to the humanity at large. And we're like an infectious bubble. Infectious I used carefully because I know that's kind of a crazy word right now. And imagine that possibility is, if it strikes a chord with our essence, is like a catchy virus. That possibility actually, especially when it's birthed from the polarity that we're all living, possibility is something that we are vigilant for, especially possibility that speaks to our hearts in a way that has that possibility be more interesting than the density and the difficulty. Does that make sense? So when we speak the language of possibility in such a way that it's not attached to oh, it's so funny. I gotta tell you that my husband is singing Delirious by Prince in the background right now at the top of his lungs. And I feel like that's kind of how we are right now, right? So Barbie, we will share all the places. I'll make sure that my staff shares all of the announcements about the interviews that I'm doing. Most of them are being posted live after the 3rd or on the 3rd, okay? So I'm just letting you know that. Imagine that we all get to a place where we understand so deeply that, first of all, our shifts internally and our shifts metaphysically and our shifts spiritually are actually living entities. Like the bridges and the new understandings that we develop within ourselves actually go out to consciousness through photon packages of light. They inform consciousness and are received by other people's trillions of cells. And there is an access point to that information that had us be able to build our own internal bridge to peace that didn't require talking to a seer or a therapist, or not to say that we shouldn't talk to those people, but even those people are tapping into the new bridges that we build based on the realities that we're currently living that transcend the old ones, that are even more efficient than the ones that had come before. Does that make sense? And we're evolving the way that we evolve. And those evolutions, by you doing your work, me doing my work, everyone doing their work, are like the 100th monkey. At some point, enough people catch up to that new evolution. I see people all the time using terminology that I used 10 years ago. And everyone catches up, right? Even innate abilities and superpowers, I saw Joe Dispenza using that. But we were using that like 11, 12 years ago, right? And I didn't see anyone else talking about it 12 years ago, or multidimensional DNA for that matter. So we catch up at some point. There's enough information. It's all happening really fast. Yes, Nika. And so the point is this: how do we catch up? Through photon packages of light, through having these conversations, through being committed to having a catch up, right? So that's how we can affect the matrix. The matrix, that's how the 100th monkey happens. And it can happen much faster than it used to. right? Thomas Edison and a whole bunch of people came up with the same idea at the same time. Einstein was working on the same idea as a bunch of other people at the same time. There are people over and over and over again coming up with brilliant, life-changing, life-transforming, world-transforming ideas at the same time. And all of a sudden, timing matches where humanity's at, matches receptivity, matches what we're asking for, matches our vigilance, matches everything, and all of a sudden, boom, it all comes through. So, what do they say in personal development realms? That the grass grows under the ground and you can't see it, so keep watering it and keep shining sunlight on it because you don't know when it's going to sprout, right? That's really the only thing that we can do. So now, next thing is, I want to talk about the matrix of looking like it's hopeless sometimes. You know, that in the Matrix, did you just hear that? In the Matrix, there's a tremendous amount of, let's say, instigating crazy talk that causes us to kind of take a step back. And it wants to gaslight us. It wants to, there's a collective ego in the Matrix. Just like in the Matrix, how there are those, what do you call those things? Those little squid looking things, whatever they are in that movie. Anyways, those little squid looking things are like distractions from the reality that we can create. And they can cause us to kind of pay attention to something that takes you away from creating realities where those die. Right? So of course, no living entity, including the collective ego, wants to die. The collective ego, where we're pitted against each other, that wants to get our attention. And so that's why not watching the news, or at least watching the news from the perspective of that isn't reality. But you'd have to be so like I can watch the news and it just doesn't get me. I don't even care I don't even care which news channel I watch. It doesn't get me. It's all, I'm more interested in the yakety yak of the polarities and how interesting it is, how divergent the conversations are. And what it does is it taps me into what's being birthed rather than gets me distracted. But I don't think a lot of people can do that. I think most people get very enrolled in what they hear. And that applies to conspiracy sites too, by the way. So they're like those little, what do you call those things? Somebody must know. You know, little squid things that float through. Yeah. So the point being, whatever those, I know somebody knows what those squid things are. Someone can tell me. But whatever those are like gaslighters. They're like shiny objects. You know, come look at me, then you'll be really afraid and you won't focus on solutions. You get what I'm saying? So, all right. And so what I'm saying to you is, the Matrix is a place where anything can be created. Your choice is on what you want to focus on. It's what is possible is calling you, right? What is possible is what's calling you. And when you're taken away from what's possible by other living entities that want to get your attention, because if you were to create forward and create more harmony, there would be no room for those lower frequency energies, and they don't want to die. Can you blame them? Do you want to die? No. So, well, maybe you have moments, but you know, no living entity, including a thought form, wants to die. So you can't judge an entity for a thought form, a body of knowledge, a belief system to want to die. All of those things are entities that have life. If you want to live in this world, you got to understand that in the Matrix, everything has life. And it's not that it doesn't want to die. It's that it wants to keep living. There's a difference. I'm going to say that again. It's not that everything wants to die. doesn't want to die. Sorry, doesn't want to die. It's that everything wants to continue to have life. I've said this before a million times. When a tiger is chasing a gazelle, the look on the gazelle's face is not, don't kill me. It's, I want to keep living. Like, I want to keep having this life. Get away from me, right? And the tiger's look is, I want to keep living too. So every entity wants to keep living, including the ones that seem so polarized to you. So what that does is exactly expanding upon itself. Expanding upon itself, Miss Edwards. And what I'm saying to you is, since everything wants to keep expanding upon itself, you either get to create something that actually makes less and less and less room for the less desired entities, or you focus your attention on trying to prevent those entities that you don't prefer from happening. Plan A doesn't give any energy to that which you don't want, and Plan B gives lots of energy to that which you don't want. I vote for Plan A. Know what I'm saying? I will take this final word. That does not mean you ignore the gaslighting entities that want your attention. It means you are aware of them and you create forward anyways. Sometimes people say to me, Jennifer, don't you have your head in the sand? I'm like, no, I know all that stuff. I was just having a conversation with my team earlier about, the idea about, what about all the people that are in leadership in the government, about the different medications and vaccines and all, pharmaceuticals and all that kind of stuff. And I said, listen, I have known for 25 years that people in leadership in governments are being influenced by pharmaceutical companies. I'm not even pointing the finger at Dr. Fauci. It's not even about that. It's all of them. It's in both parties. It's in every party all over the world. There is influence. There's influence under the table, over the table, but everyone's done, well, at least everyone that I know, and maybe my little bubble, the fact that people are shocked is kind of funny to me. Of course that happens. Of course it happens. Lots of people, when they get into those power plays, start to fall into the environment of being pulled and losing their integrity. Of course it happens. It's just, oh my gosh, it's rampant. But it doesn't mean everybody is like that, A. B, it doesn't mean that it can't be shifted, B. It doesn't mean that you have to be ruled by it either. And you don't have to make it wrong. It's been happening forever. Forever. It's been happening for at least 30 years. So, and there's been no legislation or rules about it, so it just sort of has slipped and slided into this gray, like Manisha is saying, into this gray, weird, it's been slipping and sliding, morally into nebulous ground. The cool thing is, you and I are not in that world. So guess who gets to hold the light for what's possible? You and I. They have lost their way, my friends. They're not following a moral compass or the compass of most assistance to all of humanity. And some of them are. So you can't even point fingers. Some of them are doing the best they can with what they have. Some of them really are trying to stay their moral ground. And those are the ones you really want to listen to. Because, man, in that environment, still maintaining your integrity, amazing. So, just breathe. It's always been there. You're just seeing it more now. It's not really a big deal. So in the Matrix, this shouldn't be a surprise. It's just we're being called up more because you could see the polarity more. That's all. And don't let yourself be gaslit by the shiny objects. They just want your attention because they don't want to die. You know what the cool thing is? Okay, here's the exclamation point on the end of today. The more things try to grab your attention, take you away from your focus and, get you, away from these kinds of conversations that we're having. The more that you see people having arguments, the more, like the collective ego is having all sorts of crazy conversations out there on social media and maybe in your family. The more prevalent they are, we're getting closer. That there's a feeling like something might shift that might improve it, because when something is about to die, it fights for its life. It fights for its life. And so that's the feeling, that's what you're looking at right now. Old smelly socks fighting for their life before they go in the washing machine. You get it? Old gray men. Right. Having an argument. So, yeah. And we're the ones that have the privilege of being able to see, even if you don't fully see it. We are the ones that are holding it down for what's possible. We're the ones that continue to talk about what's possible. Don't ignore what's happening, but know that it's scrambling for its life. And it's hard not to go, over there with what's scrambling for its life. Take your attention over there. Be distracted by it. But don't let it distract you. Okay? So it is making a lot of noise. But it takes the collective to exponentiate each other to activate what's possible. And we have to agree that we're going to do that. And the cool thing is, it doesn't even matter if we have to stay in our own houses, because here we are, on a live, talking to each other. Nothing can really separate us. We kind of know what's true, right? We know what's possible. And yes, these 12 days are all about being a lighthouse, and certainly the book Unstuck. I created it because it's like a blueprint for what's possible. It's a blueprint for these times. So I can't wait for February 3rd. We are going to do my beautiful communication guide. Lisa said, you got to tell people what we're doing on February 3rd. So on February 3rd, it's the first day of the Olympics. So this is, we're going to go and play the let's say, Light Beam Love Fest Olympics on the 3rd. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to show you some new swag we created for the Heaven on Earth construction crew. Very exciting. I'm going to do a live reading of one of the chapters, which is really super cool. I'm going to announce a very, very, very good price for the book for, I think, the 3rd and the 4th on that particular day. I'm going to give away a free $1,800 one-on-one to one of you, where we're going to, I'm very excited about that, because especially, I'm looking forward that if you've never had a one-on-one with me, that it is so fun for me to be able to read a new person's energy. But even if you're not a new person, it's just the perfect person will show up. And then the last thing is that we'll also be talking about chapter 11, not chapter 12. See how bad I am at details? And I don't mean bad. I don't mean bad like judgmental. I just mean like, meh. The chapter is about innate abilities. That's what you need to know. We're going to actually announce a 2.5-hour workshop that we are going to do free when you buy the book. Okay, but you have to know about that by coming to February 3rd to come to the celebration. Bring your party hat, have fun. You can let us know when you buy the book, and it'll just be fun and playful, and we'll have some amazing things to talk about at the same time. Okay, so if you want to sign up for that, it's thewideawakening.com/unstuck. Okay, go and sign up for it because you have to register. Even if you don't be there, you can get the replay, then you can find out about everything, and it gets you that pricing for the book. Okay? All right, anything else? Let's see. Tell a friend about the book, please. We really want as many people on the planet to know about this book because it's a blueprint to face forward and create anew. All right, so that's that, my lovely friends. Claudia, mwah, hugs and hugs, and all of you that are on Facebook, I love you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you there, Nancy. I'm so excited to pass the book along to all of you, and certainly help us by shouting it out on your social media, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing you can do on the 3rd and the 4th is to go in and review the book on Amazon once you buy one, okay? It's, if you want to help a sister out, which I humbly and vulnerably say, the biggest thing that you could do is do reviews on Amazon. Write it in. Do a review for Jennifer's book, okay? That would really help us out. And yeah, love you guys so much.